to PGA Junior League for free.
If it weren't for scholarship programs that Henry has developed, she wouldn't have had these opportunities that we cannot afford.
The PGA Junior League is amazing. When we turn the corner to the road on the way to the golf course, you can see the weight being lifted off these kids' shoulders. They think about the good things in life. They realize that they're going somewhere where they can be this person they're trying to become.
There were a lot of kids who never had the opportunity to go play golf. For Delilah to get that opportunity means the world to me.
Delilah's confidence level has just skyrocketed. She's made friends. She has mentors. And now she considers herself a golf pro.
You know, I'm going to get real for a minute here. When my boss would call me on a Thursday, I would say, if this isn't about golf, I'm not talking to you. Thursdays are about golf for us. It really is that special and amazing because it changed our lives to be a part of Junior League this summer.
Don't hold me down.
Hey, good morning. Thank you all for joining us. Sorry, I get emotional during that video every time, but we are so excited to talk to you all today about PGA Junior League. My name is Lauren Court, and I am the Regional League Manager for the North and South Florida sections.
And my name is Ellen Breitner. I'm the Junior Golf Manager for the South Florida section.
And joining us today is also John Moscoso, who is just one of our champion captains who we can't wait to hear from at the end of today. But to start off the meeting, we are going to talk about mission and core beliefs, which is just that every child can be a golfer and every golf course can be a community center. And I think you just saw what that really means through that video, but also just a huge thank you to all the pros, because in 2020, I think we saw this come to life even more. Where we had people that were dying to get outside and connect and just be a part of something. And you guys met that demand with creativity and just dedication to your jobs. So just thank you again for everything you've done in 2020 and for creating that community for all of your lessons, your customers, and your golf facilities. So we're gonna dive in to PGA Junior League and start with this short informational video.
This was truly one of the best activities I've ever signed my child up for. Worth every penny. We'll 100% sign up again next year. I honestly don't have enough space to write all the positives about the experience.
The impact Coach Bill has made on our family's hearts goes beyond the greens and beyond the season. Coach Bill is a game changer.
PGA Junior League is clearly a big hit amongst kids and parents, but what have coaches been finding?
We've had at least 10 new members join the club because of their kids' involvement with the PGA Junior League. We've typically reserved 25 spots per week for private lessons, and PGA Junior League helps fill those spaces to the point where we have a waiting list during the season.
PGA Junior League has been a great addition to our junior golf program. It has helped provide an opportunity for kids of all skill levels to learn and grow while having fun with their friends. PGA Junior League is now a huge part of the overall success of our player development program.
You've heard it. It's never been easier to attract more players and create great experiences for them. Indeed, kids and PGA pros alike love this program. Now, how do coaches create great experiences and repeat customers? Look to our program's core values, our 3 flags. Safety is always first. Build a nurturing environment where kids feel safe and free to have fun. We work toward that with the PGA's Youth Safety Initiative, but the environment coaches create and model is even more crucial. Put meaning behind each practice, game, and interaction. Golf courses can be intimidating, especially for newcomers. So be kind, courteous, welcome everyone. Apply the principles of long-term athlete development as detailed in the American Development Model Training on PGA.coach. Then, use the PGA.coach mobile app to organize fun, effective practice plans. Make your program accessible to everyone through available scholarship funding. By far, customers' most common concern, schedules. Every parent wants to know where to be and when, and what they need to bring well in advance. So, communicate. Use the app's messaging function. Start text threads with them. Give reminders before events and updates afterward. Share summaries and pics.
Our values are to create communities, bring families and friends together, have fun. All experiences that have an impact beyond golf.
PGA Junior League generates tens of thousands of dollars in new registration revenue, membership fees, and increased customer spend for coaches and host facilities, and creates many happy players and parents with satisfaction scores that lead the youth sports industry. Parents are also telling us they want more practice time for their kids. So, schedule a few sessions in weeks leading up to the season, and at least once per week during the season is encouraged. Any desire to engage more and spend more time and money at the facility is important. And once the season starts unfolding, here are 4 steps coaches ought to follow. Register your program early. Have your schedule completed when doing so, if possible. Register players. Take advantage of your promo kit as well as the digital toolkits available in the Captain Resource Center. Reach out to schools and other youth organizations in your community. Roster players. Order team kits at least 3 weeks before you need them. Create fun and engaging team golf experiences that your players and their families will love.
Awesome. So we're going to cover a lot of information today. And just before we do, please know that Ellen and I are here to make your season the best it can be. We're here to help with any administrative work and to walk you through the whole season. So at any time, if you have any questions, you want to meet with us one-on-one, or just have a one-off question that you want answered really quickly, don't hesitate to reach out to us because we're here to walk you through the whole season. So just to dive a little bit deeper into the format, PGA Junior League is a 9-hole scramble format. In the 13U division, you typically have 4 matches, so a minimum of about 8 players to play each game. And they're broken down into 3 different flags. So holes 1 through 3 are flag 1, 4 through 6 are flag 2, and 7 through 9 are flag 3, with each flag being worth a point. So in that 13U division, with 4 matches that go out per game, there's a total of 12 points that the kids can win during their match. And for the 17U division, it's the same format as 13U, but less matches. So there's 2 matches per game, so a minimum of about 4 players per team. If you have more than 8 players, you can utilize substitutes, which is incredible for the younger kids who maybe can only play 3 to 6 holes. So it's just a great opportunity to sub them in and out between every 3 holes, but also let them get experience with giving advice to their teammates, reading putts, and just being highly involved without having to play all 9 holes. And I'm sure John can talk a little bit more about that later and has some experience with those younger players for us. These are the 2021 team kits that the players receive. So we have a $75 PGA reach fee, and the team kits go to part of that. You get to charge anything you want in addition to that $75 fee for your program. And here's where I'm going to plug the pre-registration planning tool that Ellen's going to talk about in a little bit, because it has an incredible pricing structure built into it where you can get best practices and tips on how to price out your program, breaking down those experiences and walking through what your price should be. So just know that you have tools to help you figure that out. But for the kids, they get a home and away jersey, so an orange and blue jersey. They get to choose between a hat and a visor this year. They get a drawstring bag, some stickers, bag tags, and a game guide. And when they go through player registration, they put all this information in, so you don't have to collect any of it. All you'll have to do is order the team kits once all your players have registered and been rostered to teams, and then we send those team kits out to you. The only information you'll have to put in is the team name that you want on the back of the jerseys. So there's a 15-character limit that includes spaces, and we've had some really cool names in the past, or you can put your facility on the back if you want some additional promotion for your facility, because the kids do wear these to school and just everywhere. They love their jerseys. So they get to pick their number, and again, they put in all their sizing information, which you get in a packing slip when you receive the team kits.
Awesome. So, excuse me. As a recap for the 2020 season, obviously COVID played a large factor in PGA Junior League, as it did for all of your facilities, I'm sure. But even through COVID, we had 328 players in the South Florida section in 2020. And in addition, the national championships, which are held each year, were canceled this year due to COVID. But we at the South Florida section still held a section championship for all of the teams that participated. We had a huge turnout. They all came down to Margate Golf Course, and we had a very fun day. And we plan on hosting our section championship again this year, which I'll get to later on. Another recap from the 2020 season was our Net Promoter Scores. So Net Promoter Scores are a percentage of customer ratings on their likelihood to recommend a service. So that first number, that 71%, is what the captain's score to PGA Junior League, and then that second score, that 83%, is how consumers rated their captains. And just kind of as a reference, for national promoter scores, the scores from 0 to 30 are like a good score. 30 to 70 is said to be a great score, and then 70 to 100 is an excellent score. So here in South Florida, we both of those numbers fell into that excellent category. And then in addition, I've got a testimonial from a South Florida PGA parent on the last season. So they said, "The coaching is great. The combination of skill building and encouragement is exactly what my son needed. My son is an only child, so being able to connect with other kids in a non-academic environment has been a critical part of his development. Being able to get outdoors and engage in physical activity speaks for itself. My wife and I have truly enjoyed connecting with other parents. The relationships and conversations have been extremely valuable to both of us. Having the opportunity to share stories and offer each other support has been an added bonus." So John will kind of speak to this more later on how the program not only affects the kids, but it builds a community and affects well beyond just the players in their game.
So just sharing a little bit of insight. I know in that video it talked about incremental revenue and things that go beyond just the program. In 2020, we created a value tracking that captains filled out for us, and this was just an average of a few of the captains that initially turned that in. We're still getting those for 2020 captains as they go back and review their season, because some are just finishing up their fall season now. So we're still receiving these, but just want to encourage everyone, if you do run a program in 2021, to make sure you're tracking the value, not just that it brings in from registration, but that it brings in for the facility in the form of food and beverage, and spectator carts, and merchandise. We've heard about families joining the facility with memberships. And if you really keep track of all that, you really get to tell the story of what PGA Junior League's doing, not just as a program, but as a whole, bringing in revenue for you and maybe some of your coaches, as well as for the facility. And I know some captains have shared with me that it's helped them in the past with getting tee times at certain facilities, to be able to take this in and say, hey, this is what the program generally brings in during a game day. Can you give me 4 of your slowest tee times? And that's how they've been able to secure those tee times for their kids and their programs. So it's done more than that, but that's just one example. And you can see here the numbers that people have turned in. Again, it's averages, but as you can see, 34% of players participate in other coaching programs. So once they get involved in PGA Junior League, they tend to stick around and want to take lessons or want to be involved in summer camps or whatever else you're offering. Registration fees, about $11,787 per coach. And then other coaching revenue, you can see $4,417. And then that incremental revenue, that food and beverage, the carts, the merchandise. We have some captains that even ask their players to stick around and do lunch specials for them afterwards to keep the families at the golf course. So you can see that was an average of about $10,818 per facility. So you can see that financial impact summary. So the 2021 value tracking is on the Captain Resource Center, and I just really encourage you to fill that out, whether it's throughout the season, because you can save it, or if it's at the very end of the season, and really take note of what's happening at your facility. And it could even show you small places that maybe you can utilize in the next season. So maybe you can up the food and beverage game, or you can up the spectator carts. So it's just going to point out some opportunities as well. So 2021 value tracking is available on the Captain Resource Center for all captains and coaches. In 2021, we do have a few changes that are taking place with the program. These are just a couple, but you can find the full changes summary on the Captain Resource Center along with an FAQ document. That's just going to take a deeper dive into the reasoning behind all these changes. So ultimately what we want to provide you guys is a program that works for your facility. And what we hope to accomplish is giving you the ultimate flexibility with how you can run the program. So something that we thought would help with that is lowering the official league minimum from 32 players to 24 players. Particularly great for anyone who wants to run an in-house league, who has thought about running an in-house league before, because now it's 24 players to be able to have an all-star team. So I do have a few captains that have never done an in-house league that are now doing one this year because they want to have that flexibility. They want to be in total control of their schedule, and organization is just awesome when you're in an in-house league. They're changing up the format a little bit. They're doing 4 teams of 6 instead of 3 teams of 8. Again, you can make those kinds of changes when you're running an in-house league because it's just you and your kids and your program. But if you're playing in a multi-facility league, which Ellen and I will be putting those leagues together, you can also connect with the captains in your league and say you have 12 players that are going to be out there for the 13U division. Maybe you want to play 6 matches instead of 4 matches because they're all advanced and want to play all 9 holes. You can do that during the regular season. So let us know. We'll let you know what flexibility you have, but ultimately we want you to do what's best during the regular season and to fit your students. So the 17U official league minimum has been set at 8 players. In 2022, it'll move to 16, but for this year, it is our first time holding a section championship for this age division and a regional championship for this age division. So we've set it at 8 players. So I know at the beginning we said the format is similar for 13U and 17U. It's just the number of matches. So you only need 4 players to have a team. And if you think you can put a team together, but not quite an in-house league, again, let Ellen and I know that you have players within that 14 to 17 age range, and we'll try and put a 17U league together with other facilities in your area, because we'd love for you to be able to send an all-star team to the section championship, and then the team that wins that to go on to the regional championship in the very first year that we have that for 17U. So we're very excited. There's a couple other changes, but again, we'll connect around those later on with all the captains, and you can find them on the Captain Resource Center.
Awesome. So on to the section timeline events. This is kind of specific to what we do here in South Florida. So we have set our captain registration deadline for March 15th. This just means on March 15th, this is when Lauren and I are going to go in and create the leagues for all of the various facilities. So if the March 15th deadline passes and you then realize that you would like to be a part of it, still can definitely sign up. It will just be a little bit harder for us to potentially put you in a league, but the possibility of having an in-house league is always there. So once you register for to become a captain, you have access to the Captain Resource Center, as Lauren has alluded to. So this is really just a center for you to go to and really get anything that you could possibly need. So this includes tutorials, COVID-19 resources, scholarship information, marketing toolkit, anything that you could possibly need is there. This was built with feedback that we got, that National got from captains throughout the country. So if there's anything in there that you guys think should be there, just let us know and we can make sure that that is there in the future. Our Lauren and my goal is for captains to do as little administrative work as possible. We're here to help you through all of that so that you guys can be out on the golf course doing what you guys do best, not bogged down with paperwork or anything like that. So moving through the timeline, like I said, after March 15th, Lauren and I will be setting up leagues and setting up league meetings. So again, all of that kind of communication work will be done by Lauren and I. You don't have to be setting up meetings or anything like that. We will do all of that. The national season, it runs from March 1st to July 31st. Typically in South Florida, the season runs from end of May, beginning of June through the end of August, or sorry, end of July. Again, this is totally up to you and how it can best fit into your facility. If it's better for you to run it in March than June, you can do whatever you need there. And then our section qualifier and championship will both be held on August 14th. So that will be available for teams that participate this year.
You're just going to see a lot of fun, and a lot of smiles, a lot of good times.
With PGA Junior League, we just saw so many families on the golf course spectating, and really our goal and our thought was, how can we find a way to get them off the cart path and into the playing space? And so PGA Family Cup is really kind of that vehicle to do that.
Fun because I can spend time with my brother on the weekends and my dad and my grandparents, and it's just fun.
We set the course up today as a par 3 setup, and also a lot of contests are set up. So closest to the hole, we have a skip balls across the lake. So trying to just take golf, traditionally can be, a little bit more serious. And for a dad like myself with 3 daughters, it can be tough to get out with them in a way that is meaningful for me, but also works for them in their age.
It's cool to see your progression and how far you can hit it now and how good you can putt it.
Watching myself improve just makes me proud of myself.
The joy, that laughter, that good shot, that high five, or even the laughing and the teasing. This game brings that out of us, whether it's with our buddies or with our family, and it's everything that's good about golf.
It's making memories with them. I learned to play golf so that I could be with them on the golf course.
For an entire family to be involved in 3 generations, there are a few other sports where you can really do that and have fun.
The first line on our rule sheet is to have fun, make memories, and take lots of pictures. And my wife is not a golfer, but Family Cup has just completely energized her. And we'll have costumes on, and we've talked about it for weeks that, Family Cup. Based on the first one that we did, we just had so much fun. So really our goal is just for the families to make lifelong memories together.
So PGA Family Cup is a program I am super excited for. I think it would have been so much fun to have this around growing up, to play with my grandparents, my aunts and uncles. And in PGA Family Cup, honestly, your family is your team. So anyone that qualifies under the name family, they can be part of it. So it's about 2 to 6 players per team, a minimum pair of 1 adult and 1 junior per team. It is a pilot season, so our recommended format is that scramble format similar to Junior League. But if there's a format you have in mind that you want to try, I really encourage you to connect with me and Ellen and let us know your ideas so that we can help you get that set up. And then what we'd really love to hear is just what your families thought about it, the feedback you get from it. And we have a feedback form already set up that you can send to your families, and really just trying to hear from you what really works. So I've heard a ton of incredible stories, and I know John's going to share his because he ran a ton of incredible Family Cup events. But if you're interested in getting families, again, off the cart path and onto the golf course, it's a great opportunity to do that. There's a $45 team kit fee, and you can see the team kit there. They're going to get a clear tote bag, a Bluetooth speaker, 2 poker chips, and a picture frame. The picture frame is probably one of my favorite things. And we heard a story from a captain who took pictures of every family on the tee box before they went out. And by the time they came in, he was had them in the picture frames and handing them to the families as they came in, congratulating them. And those have ended up in offices and family homes. And it's a really cool experience just to see all that come to life. So PGA Family Cup, we're really excited about it. It's, again, similar to Junior League with that $45 team kit fee, but then you can charge whatever you want on top of that. And happy to get into more details with anyone who's interested in running the program, but also want John to share his experiences with that program too and touch more on that. So I'll save all the good stuff for him.
All right, so as Lauren said, next we're going to hear from John Moscoso. So John, in 2020, ran 2 in-house junior league teams with over 90 kids, who's recognized nationally for the Game Changer Award. He also ran 2 Family Cup series last year, so that was 8 events, which I'm sure he'll talk more about the incredible participation he got from that. John also serves on our junior golf committee here for the South Florida section, and he was the recipient of the 2020 Conrad Reeling Award. So John, we will let you kind of take it away.
Thank you so much, ladies. As always, humbled to be able to share everything that we do. Everybody can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we can't see you, John.
It won't let me do my video for some reason. It says I've been stopped.
Okay, we'll figure that out. So just feel free, keep talking, and we'll probably here soon.
Okay. So when the ladies asked me to come up with some stuff to talk about, they sent me a couple of questions and complaints that they hear often across the network. And so I just kind of went through them and sort of try to come up with the answers that worked for me. I'll tell you a little bit about the facilities that I'm at. I just left my position as program director at the First Tee Miami. I was there for 12 years. There we had about 50 players in the league. And then I also had small program locations at 2 other facilities where we also ran smaller in-house. I did all in-house because of the ability of the pool of kids that I had. But I also had those teams play with other leagues on a friendly basis, just so that the kids would, again, get to know each other and sort of buy into the whole concept of PGA Junior League. But my experience comes from in-house leagues. So one of the questions that's often asked is, it's going to take a bunch of staff. How do I do all that? Absolutely. Every one of these questions that came up when I first started this, I was definitely skeptical of all of it. So the first thing that I would say about staff is PGA Junior League, as well as Family Cup, lends itself to leveraging the families to volunteer to be part of the experience, in particular PGA Junior League. It is amazing to have the parents, the grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever it is that's a golfer in the family. Obviously, sometimes it's multiple people. They want to volunteer for this program. They will take off work. They will do whatever they need to because for the first time, they are connecting with golf with their child, with their grandchild, whatever it is. And it's such a special moment for them. They've been able to do that in other sports throughout the kid's life. They've never really been able to do this. They've always been sort of outside on the ropes. This is the first time that they get inside the ropes. So the staffing, obviously you have to have your own staff. You have to have good assistant pros. The financial reward is there for them. The idea is to sell them properly and create a proper schedule for them so that it runs smoothly. I can't tell you that this happened the first season, but I can promise you that by the second season, I had it pretty much under control, and all the pros and all the volunteers had bought into it. I also do a volunteer day after the season to really reward them. We go out and play 9 holes, et cetera, et cetera. The idea with all these programs is to continue to create that golf journey, from PGA Junior League into PGA Family Cup. Going on to the next question is, most people say it takes a lot of time to do this. How am I going to find the time? I figured out that each league takes about 2 to 3 hours worth of administration time for each league per week. Obviously, I've done this for 5 years now, so I have it down to somewhat of a science. It doesn't always work that way, but so far, that's what I've worked it down to. On the front end, there is some time that you need to put in to get all the administrative stuff. The ladies in the section, Lauren, Ellen, they're all amazing. They will help you through everything. So I wouldn't put too much concern into the time that it would take on the front end. It's really getting organized with your team and with your volunteers that's going to make the time less and more effective. Course access is the next question, in particularly with COVID. So by no means am I going to say that COVID hasn't thrown a twist. As you know, demand for golf has gone up. Pros and facilities aren't necessarily in need of rounds, but you always need certain days, certain times where golf isn't just, facilities don't have the golf that they want. And that's what I've learned to leverage, is to be smart about it, going to the facilities and ask them, listen, what is your best time? What are the days? By far, Monday through Wednesday has been the most popular time. Currently, I'll be doing PGA Junior Leagues in 4 different facilities here in Miami. And all of them have agreed to do it Monday through Wednesday after 4 o'clock. We'll start right when daylight savings, so we'll have plenty of time. They're not going to interfere with anybody, and they're going to fill in time slots that wouldn't necessarily be filled. Plus, for them, it creates revenue in the restaurant. I believe Lauren mentioned this. One of the things that I think is very positive and very important to do is to get the whole facility to buy into the program. And what I mean by that is the restaurant should have specials. They need to be promoting themselves as the kids come off, as the parents are waiting. It is a great opportunity for all the parts of the facilities to share in the revenue. One of the things that I've learned is I do a lot of surveys. They're very short surveys to my parents and my families, just to get a feel for programs that I may want to do coming up, how they felt about the program that we just did, and sort of do a good, better how with each of these surveys to make the programs better. It comes into play when each participant comes to the facility. On average, through my surveys, I've learned that each parent is spending anywhere between $10 to $14 extra each time they come to the golf course. So for example, a PGA Junior League where I have 50 kids, you do the math. That's an extra $550+ that is being spent somewhere in the facility, whether it's on the extra bag of tees or it's on the balls they forgot or the extra range ball, bag of balls that they need to because they need to practice, the extra Gatorade, whatever it may be. So these are things that are very valuable when you go into facilities that may be hesitant with programs like this. As we all know, dollar signs change everything when it comes to facilities allowing you access. But at the same time, it is what a value you bring when you have families out there. They're in these cool uniforms. There's passion out there. There's kids of all ages and all levels out there. So the value is not just in the dollars per se, it's in the big picture of how the facility can really get a lot out of it in many different ways. As far as the revenue for the pro, I think those are phenomenal numbers that they showed earlier. I can tell you that the revenue, you're gonna make what you put into it, as is in most cases with our programming. But this is one that I truly encourage you to put in a lot into it, because you're gonna get a lot of it revenue-wise. And again, it's the big picture. You may not get it out of PGA Junior League, but the synergies that you create from that and the programming that goes along with it will be phenomenal. I can honestly tell you that that's been, it was quite surprising to see how something like this tied in with Family Cup basically kept about 50 of my families together in programming for about 8 months out of the year. That's pretty powerful. In-house leagues, as I said earlier, the more kids, the better. Again, it takes organization. I call it the 3 S's, and this is what I sell to the coaches, is you must have the proper staffing, you must have proper scheduling and communication, And you have to have a system. You have to create a system on how this works. Each facility is different. Each facility requires a different system. Once you have that system in place, it's a phenomenal program to do. A lot of pros want to know, where do they start? I think today, the Captain's Resource page has really improved. It's always been good. But my personal where to start is, and my Captain's Resource page is Lauren and Ellen. They're amazing. Again, I'll keep telling you, use them. They will really make it easy. Watch the Carlos and Bigfoot YouTube video. It'll really make it really easy. I share that with every single one of my parents, prospective families that are asking about it. It's a great way. And I'll finish real quick with Family Cup. I really think it's a must if you plan to create that golf journey. And like I said, if I was able to keep 40 to 50 families entertained for 8 months of the year in different programming through PGA Junior League, through Family Cup, and all the things that I was able to do in between, leveraging those two programs, I think there's a lot of power to it. And again, we're creating the family golf journey as the section is creating it for the competitive juniors. That's it for me. Any questions, ladies?
Yeah, thanks, John. And if anyone has any questions they want to ask John, feel free to pop those in the chat. But John, I would love to know, when you get your families going and when you're preparing for the season, do you do any kind of parent orientation, or how do you prep the parents for what's coming throughout the year?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question. Obviously, pre-COVID, it was amazing. I was able to get sponsors involved, businesses, whether they were families that were already in the program or other sponsors that I already had relationships with. And we had an amazing pizza party, and it looked like a little carnival. And it was just a lot of fun. I liked what I saw with the Family Cup with Steve. The tossing. I thought I was the only crazy person putting out stuff like that out there. I'm glad I'm not, because Family Cup is like that. It's a fun time. But yes, the pizza party and all of that, we actually, one year with a smaller one, we did it at Topgolf. Holy moly. Obviously, they wanted to do there every time. I'm like, no, didn't have funding for that every year, but that was amazing. Topgolf did buy into it, and then we were going to do it this year, but as you know, COVID. So, yes, and a post one as well. That's a really important one. And again, for your volunteers and your coaches, really important.
Oh, that's awesome. And you're not the only one. Those Family Cup events have gotten just off the wall crazy and fun. We had, I'll just share real quickly, we had one professional who did the course as just a par 3 setup. I don't know if maybe you did that, just a 9-hole all par 3s. And I have one pro who wants to do a Masters themed par 3 setup coming up. So that will be fun. And then Chuck, that was in the video, as you could see, he set up a cornhole on the first hole. And if you get a cornhole shot, you got a mulligan off the first tee. So definitely some fun, creative ideas. And you get some awards with that too. And I know you handed those awards out to your families, and you ran a series. So you did point totals. Is that right?
Exactly. That's what we did. So I felt like, if we were going to get them to buy in, I didn't want to really commit the time or do any of that unless I got them to commit for a good amount of time. And they all bought in. I was very lucky. I was very surprised. I had over, I believe, 48 families join, which threw me back. I was like, whoa. I do have to admit that I leveraged summer camp. So at the time we were doing summer camp, and I'm like, 1 + 1 = 2 still. Okay, let's go. And I went ahead and just jumped in and really started talking to the families. I would go outside and wait when the kids were getting picked up, masked up, and I would hand out the stuff because I'm like, man, how am I going to get these families to really buy into that? And it was just amazing because it was almost like they were looking for it. It was literally like they were like, oh, can you talk through, what was she saying? I saw that question.
And finish your thought, and we'll read you the question after.
I already forgot what I was saying. I know that doesn't happen to you guys.
You were left summer camp. You were saying you would.
Oh, so yeah, so I really did it the old school way. I stood outside with a little flyer, you know, most of them would just take a picture of it because of COVID. So I would say, here, take a picture of it, because I didn't think I was going to be able to sell it through just like, hey, it's a family cup. People are like, oh, it's another parent-child thing. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. You know, I'm just going to fight with my kid, blah, blah, blah. And it turned around. By the way, one of the best moments several times throughout it, the family cup, was the kid going to the dad, really? Really? You missed that 3-foot putt? Really? How many times did we sit last night in practice? It was priceless. It was priceless but it was all in jest and it was all in good fun instead of what we normally see, right? All right, what's that question? How do I do this? I'm not very good at this, ladies. There it is. Large number of new families. Okay. So this year has been very difficult to really leverage all that for the facilities, but the prior years, the whole idea is that the families are exposed. I'll put it this way. In my experience, a lot of the families get used to driving up, letting the kid out of the car, maybe getting out, taking their clubs out, getting them back in the car and taking off, or sitting in the car and doing their whatever they do, and they just don't participate in the facility. When PGA Junior League opens them up to come into the facility and for the first time be exposed to all the different things that the facilities have. For example, there were moms who at a certain facility started to play tennis there. I didn't even know there was really a tennis program there. They went in and they found out that there was a tennis program, et cetera. So it's just the fact that for the first time, we have programs that invite families into it without it being about necessarily golf. It's a family experience. It's about, I'm gonna go see my kid on a team jersey. Like, oh my God, I'm used to seeing this in everywhere else, but I've never done this in golf. Whoa, they got a number, we got to pick our, it's just, sometimes I catch myself sounding corny, but it really is. It's just like, wow, I get to be corny because I've been a member over 20 years, and these are the coolest programs they've put out my entire membership. So disclaimer on that one. But really, it's about the families coming in. I was able to show the restaurant that they were able to increase it. Now they have to buy in. They have to make the people feel special, like it's their hour in the restaurant where listen, one of the best things that the restaurant has done is the mommy happy hour. Whew, great revenue, right? Mommy happy hour, they're all in there. The ones that don't necessarily want to be part of it, that's okay. We've got a place for you. You're over there, but then they come out and they're the most fun after the programming. So they're the most excited, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all about getting them there and exposing. And as I tell each part of when I go to the facilities and I sell this, I said, listen, our job is to bring it to you guys. You guys got to put out a good product. You guys got to have great customer service. All I'm going to do is facilitate clients for you, right? I'm going to bring people here. I can't sell it for you, right? I can't do it for you. So, and that's really important because at the end of the day, it's my brand, obviously, right? It's the PGA brand that we are bringing to these facilities. And it's important the facility knows that, they got to do their end if they want to be successful, that it's not just bringing the kids and then no one does anything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's it.
For those who are interested in PGA Family Cup, you can run a single event too. So John dove right in. He ran a series. He decided to do 4 events, but you do have the option, and from what John's saying, of getting families involved preseason and postseason, if you want to run an event to launch the PGA Junior League season, or if you want to run an event to celebrate the end of the PGA Junior League season, you can use PGA Family Cup that way too. But John, another question from me about PGA Junior League is, for your younger players, is there anything you do to get them more involved? Like, are there some that can't play all 9 holes, some that utilize that substitute kind of role, or how do you keep the younger kids engaged?
Great question again. So I learned that some facilities didn't necessarily want to give up the entire 9 holes or whatever. And I said, okay, no problem. And that's where, again, it's the system, right? It's creating that system. That's where I would encourage families that weren't ready. The kids weren't ready for 9 holes anyway. I would say, listen, this is the best program for you. We're going to do it a certain way. It's a hybrid, blah, blah, blah. This is to get them ready. They'll be ready for the next time, et cetera, et cetera. And the idea is, you tell the facility, look, you don't want, that's okay. We're only going to use, tell me which 4 holes you want me to use, 5 holes, whatever. And it's even shorter holes, yardages than the PGA Junior League offers, because you're very honest with them. You're not going to postseason. This is not what this PGA Junior League is about. This PGA Junior League is a developmental league into it. And the fun part about it is, I would say about 30-40% of those participating in that league for our purposes are siblings that are not necessarily ready, but are like, the mom or the dad will come to me like, please, just let him join. I'm so sick of hearing them complain. They fight. He wants a jersey. He wants that. No problem. And so, again, listening to your families, doing these surveys, and I tell you, 2 years ago, I had no idea how to do a Google form. I am so happy I learned how to do Google Forms because I still don't know how to share with people. They send it back, it's restricted, kind of like you did, but I'm getting better at it. But these Google Forms, it's amazing because, nobody wants to tell you all this stuff face to face, but they'll click, and send it to you, and it's valuable. You're going to get some that aren't necessarily the best things, but you learn from them, right? You're like, okay, you take it with a grain of salt. You're like, okay, it's only one of them, but I do need to pay some attention to them. But those are extremely valuable in the overall success of each of the programs that I've run.
Yeah, and have you found that by setting the younger kids up that way, by having that kind of developmental league, they've stayed in the program and they've grown in the program and
yeah, absolutely. So it's funny you say that because just last week, one of the parents called me. He's like, you need to explain what a birdie is, right? And a bogey is. And I said, oh no, she really made a birdie, but she made it from 25 yards. And he's like, oh, because of course the siblings like, you didn't make a birdie. And the other was, yes, I did. They didn't know it was from 25 yards. So yes, it's that, right? And I think you guys, we've had this conversation privately. Golf used to be so hard when we were kids, right? And I'm much older than you guys, but like if I would have had this, right? If I wouldn't have had my dad pounding me left and right, if we would just had like having fun like this and all that, oh my God, right? I'd be on tour. I'm kidding. You know what I mean? It'd be a whole different story as far as the engagement, right? Like, maybe I would have wanted to practice more, et cetera. I don't know. But it's just, I see a different dynamic when the families are, now don't get me wrong, they step out of the PGA Jr. Family Cup, they're back to, you got to go hit 50 balls, blah, blah, blah. But when they're in that setting, it's sort of like, they get sprinkled dust on them and they're good for a couple hours and then they move out of it. But it's really important to set them up for success.
I think too, what you're saying for me with Junior League, that really speaks to how the program is good for both a player who is just getting started in the game because it allows them to grow and kind of watch other kids and all that stuff, but also it gives a more advanced player, like you were saying, an opportunity to come out and just have fun and play for fun and be with their friends and not have the pressure of the world on them like so many do with the game on them. So
I'll share a great story with that. Coach Mike Stern, I think you ladies know him. He took the team up that one. So usually he teaches a lot of good players, right? And when we first started, he's like, I want all the good players on my team. I'm like, no, man, you can't do that. And then the other coaches said, oh, no, let him. We'll do our own team, right? I'm like, okay, fine. Oh, it was so funny. By the next season, he's like, oh, no, just give me whoever you want because of that, because of the pressure, right? Because all of a sudden it was all the other teams were having a blast. His teams and his parents were like, we got to win, we got to win, we got to win. We're like, no, that's not what this is about, And then what he wound up realizing was that his older, better kids actually wanted the younger kids so that the pressure would be off and they would be the big guy in town, the big fish in a small pond. And they, you could see how they would mentor them. And it was just, it was just so relaxing. It was just a whole different concept. And the kids bought into it, right? The kids now are like looking forward to it. They don't want to necessarily be with the best players. Now, they want to be on the all-star team. So they also know that the better they do with the little kids and the better they behave, the better chance they have. So it's really cool to see that happen. But yes, absolutely.
Awesome. And I just have one more kind of prompt question for you, because we did talk a lot about value tracking, and you and I have talked a lot about that too. Any best practices or tips you can give people about how to do that throughout the season, or how you've been successful doing that?
Honestly, really good spreadsheets and a really good assistant that likes to do that. Because I'm very good at gathering the data. I'm not necessarily good at like sitting there and putting it all together. Right? Like I can create the surveys and I can create an environment where we can where we can gather the data, but I'm not very good at that part. So really good spreadsheets. But again, all that information, all that comes from the communication, right? Hearing what the parents, what the families want to do. You know, for so many years, I got caught into what I wanted to do. And yeah, that was successful, but I felt like I always hit a ceiling. With this, it's almost like I'm always breaking that ceiling because the parents break it for me. And I'm like, didn't think of that. Sure, we'll do that. And then I get a survey going that, So one of the little secret sauces in my recipe is if I get 6 parents in a survey to say yes to something, then I know it works. And that comes from the experiences before. It may start with 6, but 6 quickly turns into 12, et cetera, et cetera. So that's it.
And your very first year with the program, you didn't just jump to running 3 in-house leagues. So can you talk about a little bit just how you grew?
Sure. So the first year, every assistant pro looked at me and goes, no, thanks. I pass. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's going to be awesome. It's going to be pain. The parents are going to be involved. Whoa. Okay. I'm like, this is going to be tough. Then I went to the pro shop. What? No way. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I did it with like 20 kids, but that was the cool thing about the first year that I only did with 20 kids. I did it by myself, right? It was me and 2 volunteers. And I mean, it was at best half-assed, you know what I mean? At best. But I was just trying to get a sense for it. And it was funny though, because then all the pros were like, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, are you going to do it again? And I'm like, really? I'm like, we could have done this from the beginning. And it just blossomed after that. It sells itself, the jerseys, the actual parents being out there. It really sells itself. But it can be a little overwhelming in the first year, no doubt. Again, that's why the system and the structure is so important, and continuously changing it.
Well, and I think you touched on something really important there. Is a lot of people worrying about getting those 8 players for the 13U division or those 4 players for 17U. And I think something we just keep trying to express to people is if you have 6 players and you want to just do it in-house and split them up into teams of 2 and make it your own thing, you have the ability to do that. Will you be eligible for that championship season? No, but that's just one small portion of the season when regular season is just so huge, and you take maybe 6 players and next season you multiply and all of a sudden you have 12. And
100%, and that's what's happened every time, right? I've never had a season that's gone lower, right? Every season it grows to the point where part of the reason why I started doing it at other facilities was because I couldn't do it at one facility, right? Like, how am I going to get 90 kids in one facility? So that's why, and it made sense to the parents, right? Some parents were driving 35 minutes for an hour and a half, right? So they were literally in their car, 70 minutes for an hour and a half program. Not cool. As a parent, I was like, you're much better than me. I wouldn't have done that, but just kidding. And so, yes, it's start small and it'll grow. I promise you. And one of the real cool things is when they go to sectionals, right? When they go to region, oh my God, and sell that to them. Use the videos, right? Use those cool videos that really sell the story of PGA Junior League, and you'll be fine.
That's awesome. It doesn't look like we have any other questions in the chat, but John, thank you. You're
my pleasure.
And we appreciate you sharing. And if anyone has questions that they didn't ask in the chat and they want to ask us later on one-on-one, again, reach out. That's what we're here for. I also encourage you to find a professional in your area like John, who's done it and would share best practices with you and really pick their brains, because you've got some incredible, amazing captains and resources out there. So I can't thank you enough for all that you do.
Thank you, ladies. Anybody can reach out to me.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. And thanks,
Stay
everybody,
safe.
for joining.